Ravelli here from the Mind Palace.
What happens when I stick my dick in a tree? This is what you get.
We're gonna throw buckets down. And we're gonna throw them from here and they're gonna land.
I am Birdman.
Welcome to the Mind Palace. I am your true party king, here with a guest of sorts, if we can even describe them as a guest. Because they are... I'm leading you on to introduce yourself as your alter ego.
I am you with a different skin. Speaking
Yes.
different things than you.
That is true too. That is true. But I was asking more specifically in terms of your alter ego too. Even though I will credit your normal name of Gabriel Lugo.
That's
I
how
want-
I've been known.
That is how you have been known, but not how you will be known. For you will be known as...
Oneness.
There we go. Oneness. The essential final destination for people who are tethered to their own name.
Cutting the cords.
Cutting,
That.
yeah. Like, when it comes to cutting spiritual tethers, when it comes to discussing things such as, being one with the Tao, being one with, the almighty divine force, whatever, that's in Buddhism or all those sorts of faiths. Many first require detaching themselves from desire after desire, and not only the desire, but to eliminate the desire to eliminate desire. And when they have reached that point, they will then know that their own name is keeping them from that final destination that, even though they're not supposed to want anymore, because they're at that level now, they secretly still do. Or at least they did before they stopped wanting it. And now I guess they're just doing whatever. I don't really know. I still want things, so I can't speak for them entirely.
It's like a skin you put on.
It
and
is.
You kind of embody it just because it's fun to play like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you come down to play as that, but you secretly know that it's not truly you. So it goes back to what we were talking about before with the names and the power of names and what they can evoke.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always a sense of being that is not really, what's coming from you, but it is the game that you're playing here. So it's funny because when you go into the understanding of oneness, the only thing that you bring back is just another layer of understanding for you to see reality, but you still have to wear this ego, this form that's information, right?
Yeah.
So you have to wear that form, and it's every time you go into that formless, which
Yes.
is the great void or oneness, source field, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
That's where grab a little bit more understanding for your knowledge, and you come back here to keep playing and keep just deluding yourself.
Keep wowing.
Yes. You bring that essence and share it with people
Yeah.
in your own way.
Yep.
And that's why there is no one way. It's almost like saying art is one way. You have to, well, you know this with your own story and your architectural
Journey.
yes. Like there is no one way. It's just infinite possibilities to manifest that essence. So
Right.
that to me is communing with that void, with that nothingness that creates the things out of the nothing.
Right.
And you bring it here all the time, and you just bring something new that's never been heard in the whole universe.
Because it's not about trying to make something good and avoiding making bad things or whatever. Like the idea of making something good or bad is a block. What you need to do is to just do, to just be spontaneously. Basically, whatever you feel is what you need to do. The only thing getting in your way is the amount of time it takes for that thought to enter your mind, and then, like, between that and you doing that thing. That whatever distance exists, that is your block. Once you have unlocked the power that Zen meditators have, that I am slowly adopting. When you have a thought, you just do it. When I'm like, I want to paint this thing, I just go paint it. There is not no hesitation, but there is less hesitation than I used to have. And I can't 100% say that I am there. All I can do is reference my past and say, yeah, I want to keep doing this. Yeah, it's pretty damn amazing how much stuff I've done over the past just few weeks in this space. This whole space behind you was created in just like 2 weeks, and not even like not even what you see. Everyone who's watching this is just seeing one plane of existence that I wish I could rotate around, and I've shown little clips elsewhere, but it's an entire experience, as Gabriel can attest.
Yeah, it's like I didn't expect the amount of life that comes out of seemingly random things. And it's not only the individual life that is in things, because I think this is the power of creation, no matter what you do, whether that be form of art or written poetry or an expression of whatever, just anything that comes out from you. I think it's just, as long as it's your true expression and you're not repeating something because you think you have an idea that should be what you should be talking about or creating. And that's the thing, when we are told what to create, we're told what to say, and we follow that. No, when that full expression of yourself is coming out, I think that's, like you said, it's not good or bad, it's not art or not art, it's just there for people to appreciate, for the people who are going to appreciate it. And even those, like we said throughout the whole night, who don't appreciate it, it's reflecting back on them. It's just always reflecting back on them. So what I love about this is that is the individual things that have life, yes, but there is like
what I've gifted to you that you're wearing
yes.
right now is probably the most
This is the most significant thing, yes,
that I've ever created, maybe save for the phone that is being used to record this podcast.
Yes, this has life of its own, and it's creating consciousness too,
Yeah,
as it seems to come alive when it wants to.
exactly. Like, to
That's what I love
elaborate,
about it.
this specific ionizer that I've gifted to him, I'm wearing my own WoW one, but I have gifted the eternal one to Oneness, because, I mean, it kind of works. I didn't even realize it until after I gifted it to him.
That's how things connect.
But I gifted it to him because he wowed me over and over and over again, to the point where I absolutely knew that he needed this armor to take back into the Matrix as some damn fine protection on so many levels. Not just what it can physically do, because I don't believe I've talked about these before, how it, produces negative ions, which has a whole long history way before even written history that we know of. Like, basically talking about the Giza pyramids, what they were used for as a healing center or whatever, which you've researched.
Yeah.
They healed through negative ions, which is essentially the same as when you enter into a forest. People in Japan, doctors, send cancer patients out into the wild and discovered their tumor is decreased in size. And we can't 100% say that it's because of negative ions, but it is their best guess so far. And as such, there is a lot of good science behind it, even if it is not the approved science that doctors put out, because it's a technology that's evolving and there's a lot of complexity. I understand why it's not like officially sanctioned. But that understanding, the understanding of like people whose jobs it is to make masks, say masks work, and we put a lot of money towards them, so they better fucking be doing the right work. They better be doing their job correctly. So I have faith that they are doing the job correctly. But that is a knowing, like taking a class. But I know these work on a different level where I can teach the class, because when I would have seasonal allergies and I didn't have these on, I would be super, itchy-eyed, sneezing all the time, runny nose, everything. But when I had it on, nothing. I don't feel anything with this armor on. And that's its own knowing. And when I talk to my friends who are doctors and such, like what can they say? They can't say that that's wrong because they haven't experienced it. Only I experienced it, so I know it works on a level that no one can possibly refute. No one can say, no, you didn't feel those allergies. No, it didn't. Like, no, it did. You weren't there. Who the hell are you to say that? Like, no one can say that. So, it has its own power. Its own breaking down of what people believe is acceptable health regulation or whatever the fuck. Because it requires a personal knowing that many feel uncomfortable with embracing, because it requires responsibility and defending and all sorts of stuff, which I understand completely. But I'm one of those insane people. I am becoming that WoW, so I expect that, I am gonna be stirring up some pots.
I think it goes back to the idea of authority.
Yeah.
We give too much energy to authority.
Like
And
our little pal off to the corner here that I've recently added.
too much.
It was on a different part of the Mind Palace, but there was a void in the background, and I was like, I think we got to bring it in because it was part of conversation.
It teaches you a lot.
President Barack Obama, the beacon of change, inspiring so much hope. I voted for him twice. I voted for him because I believed everything he said. He spoke to me such a great level, such a beautiful speaker. No one can possibly say he's not a great speaker. He's an amazing speech giver. But I will say perhaps he did not know how sticky government was when he entered in, but another option was, because in retrospect, he admitted to basically being a light Republican. Basically being Republican light. He admitted to that on an interview after he left office. And that basically flies in the face of everything that motherfucking thing stood for. Fucking change. Change from the Bush era, from whatever era. So, as a was it a rebellious act? What did you say it was?
Anarchy, a true expression of anarchy.
A true expression of anarchy.
Simple at that too.
Yes. Very simple, because I decided to be very curated with my crazy. I added a question mark. I didn't change a single word on this piece. It's an original too. It's one of 5,000 that was created. Somehow, it was literally like behind some shit. No one even knew about it. I fucking found it. So it's mine, I guess. Because that's what the Mind Palace does. It reveals things you never knew you ever had. And, as such, I looked it up online. Is it worth a lot? Should I not touch it? And it was worth about $1,000. That's how much it was selling for. And I was like, oh, what? When I'm done with it, it'll be worth at least 10 times that. There is no way that whatever I do is detracting from that value. And if it does, so be it. I'll never fucking sell it. Who cares? It's freedom.
See, this is what I was talking about. The Mind Palace, as it grows in the way you do it, is that it has its own individual parts coming alive, like this, or the light bulb, or anything else that just exists here. But the funny thing is that as you are here, you start seeing that they're all like a collective organism that's coming alive. Because everything has its own or specific DNA. And I can see it. You can see it in all the little things that are expressed in the art and the glowing and the psychedelic ambience that creates. So it's like, at least this Mind Palace is like the growing
It's never done.
insides of an organism. It's like inside a cell.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. We're inside a cell.
Perhaps we are all cells. Perhaps our individual conscious awareness is simply a nerve ending in the body that is the universe.
That is exactly what it is. It's
Why not?
experiencing in itself.
It's experiencing in and of itself. So when I was confronted with that piece, I chose not to change a word, only the enunciation of the word. So it no longer is change. Change, yes, change. It is change, change, change,
Question mark.
change, question mark, question mark, question mark. Because when people see that art, as much as they support Obama, as much as, they are Black Americans that feel a sense of pride that we had a Black president, which I very much understand and respect, they still have to admit, what changed? Was there a change?
Many changes. The question
Exactly.
is the one you were expecting.
And it was important that I did not say what change, bullshit change, whatever. I did not make a statement. I simply asked a question change?
What change?
Exactly. Because that invites individuals' interpretation of their personal experience from those 8 years. Did it really change? If I tell people shit didn't change, their reaction will be to defend it, if they choose to defend it, or to commiserate, if they choose to commiserate. Either reaction is a, like, not an incorrect action or reaction, but a less deeper understanding of that experience than if I were to ask a question. Because by asking the question, I allow the subconscious to answer it for themselves.
That's how every single teaching
Should be. Yep.
Because you're supposed to stimulate the curiosity of the person and not tell it something. Because telling is not sitting the information, on people. It's just allowing that information to flow through people in the way they can discern it and connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
That's why so many things are red pill, psychedelics, epiphanies, or any sort of flow of huge information that can go through people is not really advisable, as it needs to be prepared.
Like, there
the
are
amount
reasons.
of information.
There are reasons why kids can't take drugs.
Yes.
There are reasons why we have those laws.
And it's interesting because, see, the way that the model that we talk about in the Law of One, when we talk about densities of consciousness, as opposed to dimensions. And dimensions, they're interchangeable sometimes, but when we talk about densities, what is it that is more dense is the question. And we live in a third density reality, which is the human experience. But when we move up to higher densities, what we need to be prepared for is the amount of information we can process. So another density or another dimension of reality is a more dense or information dense layer of this universe. So you have to, not yourself as a human, but your soul, which is they call it a soul stream, that gathers the information that you have been getting from the experiences, from your different incarnations. And you grab all that information and you feed it onto this soul stream. Call it a brain too, if you want. Brain is not a proper term, but that soul, once you die, you just have that amount of information in you and how you perceive reality, so you can go on to different densities. So it depends on how you live here. But the key thing is that every time you incarnate, you are betting on yourself that you can remember who you are, because you can get lost in who you think you are here in this reality, because here is where we experience the illusion that you're separate from everything.
Right.
So no matter how advanced, and the term advanced sounds more like hierarchical, but it's not really. It's just a way of experiencing the universe.
Mm-hmm.
You can get trapped here for a while, which is fine. It's part of the game in the universe. But as you become more aware of information, which is, like we said, that consciousness field that exists in the universe, and it's based on love is the term that it's mainly agreed upon, compassion or appreciation. That creates the ability for you to accept more information. So you can move on to different layers of the densities in consciousness. So it's a game. You go back and forth depending on what you want to experience.
Right. And also, I will say for people that maybe I haven't said it before, and I will have a podcast episode dedicated to this, but the question of do I even need to be awake while listening to this podcast is an important question to ask. Because the answer is no. I mean, I hate to, even me saying that there's one answer is not very zen. But my personal answer would be no. You do not have to do that. In fact, I would prefer it if you were literally asleep while you listen to this podcast. It's the reason why I've made it as ASMR as possible. Secretly. So if you feel the need to rest or sleep, please do. Please, I'm begging you, do what you feel is natural. If you feel hungry, eat. It's the essence of Zen. Just, you feel something, do it. If you're hungry, eat. Tired, sleep. You want to, I mean, I don't know what else. But yeah, like, you have those basic feelings, you do it, take care of it, so it doesn't bother you anymore. You're not tethered to it. Because, also, along with that, so that's still in helpfulness, but I prefer talking to the you that is either asleep or meditating. Both states are pretty damn awesome. I would love for you to listen to it in those states, because when I am talking to you in those states, I am not talking to the you that is normally listening when you listen consciously. When you are asleep or in deep states of meditation, you listen deeper. You listen, not only do you listen, but your ancestors listen. The you that you never knew you were is listening. Everything in your genetic DNA is listening. And probably wowing with every experience. And wowing on a level that the conscious you could never wow at. And the teachings that I provide, the whatever you want to take from this, whether or not you consider me to be a good or a bad teacher, don't really care. The point is that if you're listening to this podcast, hopefully you have embraced the identity as the eternal student as the two of us have. The knowing that after high school or whatever, when you're so excited to go to college or get a job and not have to deal with this shit anymore, that's never over. You are never done being tested. And in fact, the true test is after you graduate school, because now you no longer can identify a teacher with someone behind a podium or behind a desk. Now your teachers are everywhere. Everything, every interaction you have, every emotional experience you have is its own teacher.
See, there is this concept about the archons that I'm very familiar with. And what's interesting is that the archons, or the idea of the archons, are entities that create an illusion of reality so you can manifest it, right? And when you think about these things that you're talking about, when there is a mechanism by which we live, which is the eternal student, right? That is a principle in our minds, complex, that allows us to be alive, because we are programmed to be alive by learning. And learning is not so much grasping and understanding. It's more having the experience and connecting the dots so you can create your own idea of this reality. Because there is no true understanding. In fact, it's funny, little trivia here from all the things that we have talked about in the raw material. Whenever they refer to understanding, they always say, excuse us the misnomer. Or they say something to the effect of, it's not the right word because understanding is not from this density. And what they mean to say is that, yes, you can have an idea of what things are, and you can create the illusion that you're understanding something, but you're not. All you're doing is experiencing things as they come to you, and those lessons, it doesn't matter how you interpret them, those lessons are yours. Are yours to keep. There is no judging, there is no right and wrong. It's you when you die and you go outside of the illusion and you reunite with the true essence of the universe, that you say, oh, those experiences, I would like to see them differently in another incarnation. So you program yourself again to come here and see them differently. So that's why you select your parents.
Perhaps.
That's, yes.
According to the law of one.
Right. Let's, for the sake of argument, let's just say that we're following the law of one teachings.
Yeah. Remember, it is not the answer. It is the best guess. It is the best understanding we have at this point of the game.
By this instrument.
Yes.
This is just me.
And as you discuss it, I keep on wowing and laughing at how this interaction, this channeling exists.
Yes.
And as you continue to describe it, I'm like, yep. Like,
it connects. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So
it's so free and, yeah, zen in its own way. Like the fact that they will start, well, you should describe how, like, the initiation of the, like...
Yeah, so...
Welcome. Welcome to the Mind Palace. Welcome to the Mind Palace. That scare off